not be allowed to do that. Then we want to redefine our country to be seen as a country of yes. We will never succeed. We will continue to work hard to ensure the security of our people. And find our messages. And for this act of terror, we will not let the loss of lives of our people, the perpetrators must surely be brought to book.
Most Moroccan music is spiritual. The North African nation's annual Fez Festival of World Sacred Music honors that belief.
The festival in question is an event that promotes the life of music. It puts to stage dialogue between diverse cultures.
The spiritual music is life. The music is life. Spiritual music is when souls meet each other without problems of language.
Morocco is big on festivals, hosting around a dozen per year.
I prefer this festival and also Sufi Music Festival. We hope that they can add more festivals in Fez City.
Every June, the seaside city of Essaouira attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors for its celebration of Gnawa music, a genre originated more than 500 years ago. When sub-Saharan Africans were taken into Morocco as slaves, they brought their music with them. Bahsan Ujea is a descendant living in Kamlia village. Music plays such a role here that it has been nicknamed the village of Gnawa.
Before they have in this village just Gnawa, just musician. Yeah, and now they have some people who come. Yeah, I think that it's 45 like this house is now. It's not like before.
3 instruments and chanting make up the layered rhythmic sound. Castanets, called krakebs, symbolize chains that their ancestors wore on their hands and feet. A drum, or tbel, represents the wheel because of their work in agriculture. Hajhuj is a 3-stringed lute made of goat intestines and tamarind wood. Many songs are long, but they're actually a series of chants strung together with the objective of provoking trance, especially at Lilas, religious ceremonies that call upon spirits of saints and ancestors. The music is shortened for tourists, who have been coming here for around 15 years now.
I have a Moroccan friend in Australia, and she told me how beautiful it was.
She was right.
And she was right. It's music to dance to, more than music to sit and listen to. And it made me hear things that I hadn't heard when I was just sitting still.
Wassan is the leader of Pigeon du Sable, which has performed 3 times in Spain and once in Germany, Dubai, and Oman. Many international artists are keen on collaborating with Gnawas, infusing jazz, blues, and even hip-hop. Of course, music always changes with time. But Wassan prefers to keep it traditional, in order to preserve the history for future generations.
Alter Africa.
Engage Africa.
Enjoy Africa's compelling,
exciting,
and breathtaking
experience
with Kakaaki,
the African voice.
Well, thank you for staying with us. We're now looking at our first interview, but this time we're not talking about the presidential media chat first. We're, however, looking at the national conference, Nigerians in Diaspora Quest for Voting Rights. For many years now, Nigerians in the diaspora have been agitating for the right to vote.
Well, that campaign brought Nigerians in the diaspora into relevance, and that is probably why they were given some slots in the ongoing national conference.
Well, however, since the conference was inaugurated till now, when committees are preparing their reports, not much have been heard about the diaspora voting rights.
And this has made some Nigerians in the diaspora to be unsettled, and some of them are so agitated to come to Nigeria to lobby for their rights to vote.
But one of those agitated is Alistria, the Chief Executive Officer, Ben Television London. You're welcome, Alistria.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
You listen to us, Nigerians in the diaspora so badly want to be a part of the electoral process come 2015 and beyond. But just before we go into that, let me just ask, how did you react to the presidential media chat yesterday concerning the security, some of the issues that were raised on the security in the country?
Well, I think, thank you for having me. I think the president has shared widely with the international community, and more especially the Nigerian people in Nigeria, about the situation in the country. And really, the truth is, there's no denying that there's a security challenge in the country, more so with the recent two-time bombing almost in the same location, one coming in, one going out. So the reality as well is the World Economic Forum is taking place in Nigeria, in fact, from this week. So it is very important for Mr. President to assure the international community, but more importantly, to assure Nigerians about what they're doing to make sure that security is not just for the privileged, but for everybody. So indeed, it is a welcome development. But again, when you go on the social media, you will see the reaction of what people are actually saying that the president has said right or wrong. And again, that is another major issue. But there's one thing I understand, that in life there is something called darkness and there's something called light. So which means there's always two sides to a coin. And so the opposition would disagree with whatever I agree with. And in the same format as well, what I agree with, they would disagree. What they disagree, I will agree. So it's just basically a situation where he has to find the balancing act. And Nigeria again now has to have the trust and the belief to know that not just the president, but the presidency, the governors, the ministers, everybody is doing the best thing that they can to bring security into the nation.
I know, because, you know, a lot of people would say that where there is struggle, there has to be strength. But first of all, we have to be willing to confront things before we can actually see change. During the abduction, after the reports of the abduction, so Nigerians in diaspora did, you know, have a protest in Washington, and, you know, speaking about the level of insecurity in Nigeria and what must be done. And even the United Kingdom, when the women were abducted in Boninyadi, there was also some level of protest. What can the United Kingdom or the American government do, or even the Israeli Mossad, if I might add there, help, you know, with issues like this, especially insecurity in Nigeria?
Well, I would probably say only a poor person would deny that he needs food, and only a person who would not, somebody who's healthy definitely do not need the medical attention. Now, if Nigeria as a nation is absolutely facing security challenge, it would be foolish and foolhardy of us not to recognize those who are expert, professional, and has been dealing in that kind of situation, terrorists, insurgency, whatever it is. So Nigeria as a nation, as a unit, as a body, sure, without any doubt. And I believe that hopefully that they are engaged in the international community, be it American, be it the United Kingdom. But there's a different level to say that, okay, here are professionals who want to help. And then the Nigerian government or the Nigerian people are willing to allow them to come and help them. So I think this could be the challenge, because if at the end of the day they're coming and the Nigerians professionals are not attending to them in a professional way, I think anybody can walk away without believing that this person really wants help. So it all depends on what is the government doing. And again, in terms of security, as somebody who has been monitoring security issues, and we have been organizing security summit in London, so I kind of follow security situation. And it's not something that really, because I've seen people coming on TV talking about this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. This doesn't happen. Even in a football game, managers do not reveal their players. They don't reveal the tactics they want to play onto the game. So I see no reason why, for example, if people really have any information, the best thing is, do you trust the people you're giving the information to? Will they act on it? And for me, these are the challenges that Nigeria as a nation is facing. So we as Nigerians, we are already maybe losing faith, not necessarily hope, because we are one of the most dynamic people in the world. But we are more or less losing faith and trust in the establishment because of things that you can see on a daily basis happening in Nigeria. So from the Nigerian perspective, or Nigerian in diaspora, we believe in, yes, we are the most resourceful people. We have the natural resources in the country. So when you have all these things, it does not equate when then you're suffering. If we don't have this natural resources we keep saying we have, and then we're suffering, you can understand. There's no need to compare Nigeria to a country that does not have what we have. Now, we are VIP five-star country. Then I expect a VIP five-star treatment because that is what my country has. If my country doesn't have all these things, as I say, then it's a different ball game. And when we talk about that, we have the most educated people in the world, or the most educated black people in the world, but then it's not touching me. Then really we don't have them. You can criticize or praise the people in the National Assembly doing wonderful things, but at the end of the day, you put them there to do the wonderful thing because they have the wonderful resources. They have the resources to make sure that people in Nigeria, I mean, think about it, $500 million confiscated or returned back during the Abacha era. Nigeria is only 170 million, which means out of that money actually returned, every single Nigerian can be entitled to $1 million, and you still have $320 million left. This is a country we're talking about on a daily basis. So whatever it is that is happening, I, as a citizen of the most populous nation, the #1 black nation in the world, the one that everybody say you have natural resources, human capital, I'm not benefiting actually mean I'm poor. Are you with me? So if we don't have it, it's a different ballgame. As we're walking here, it's raining. And the truth is, I'll tell you, it's raining. And you can go outside and actually see, yet it is raining. So Nigeria is the nation, and we need to justify being the giant of Africa, being the #1 economic country in Africa. We need to justify that by the people that we govern and lead, and the people that are citizens of this country.
Okay, now let's move on to the diaspora voting rights. Of course, a lot of Nigerians in diaspora, including yourself, have been agitating for the rights of Nigerian diaspora to be able to vote during the elections. And we do understand that some of the Nigerians in diaspora have were included or are participants or delegates at the national conference. But little has been said about the voting rights of Nigerians in diaspora at the conference. What are your concerns?
Well, I have a major concern, to be honest, because as a diasporan, the only interest we have is two things: the diaspora voting right and the diaspora commission. Why? The commission, for example, would be the center that unite all the diasporans coming together and then sharing their skill, their knowledge, something that they have already gained around the world, bringing it back home. The center becomes like a ministry whereby you can go and share. Almost every state has a diaspora in Nigeria, in the diaspora. Why are they not tapping into these resources? It's not about the fear factor that when the diaspora come back, they're going to take away what you have already worked for. It's actually to put it together. We as a nation use the minority of the non-Africans, which means the other Asian countries coming in. Somebody who is a laborer in his country is coming here to rule over us, the VIP five-star black nation. That is unjustifiable. So that's #1. Then the #2, yes, the president has indicated his interest, not today, since 2011, to make sure that the Nigerian in diaspora, that's actually even at that time, that if we're not able to vote in 2011, we definitely subsequently will be able to vote. And I have no interest, for example, to say we're lagging behind. The fact is, even people in the National Assembly who has been talking so exclusively in support, and most of them has actually been outside the country. Somebody is deceiving someone. But I, as a Nigerian, who have contributed, we're not just even talking about the $20 billion that they contribute on our remittances back home, but we're talking that is a right. Other African countries, junior brothers, junior sister nation, are allowing their citizens to do that. And then some people want to argue that, oh, when the vote in Nigeria cannot be counted, how much more the diasporan vote? And I tell you, every step that you take in the right direction is a step towards progress, towards transformation, towards succeeding in life. Our vote from the diaspora, if it is not counted, then at least let us have the will to know that we vote and then you didn't count it. It's a different ball game. So we definitely want, these are the two things that I'm delegate. should be talking about in the national conference. We have no interest, for example, in state resources. We have no interest on who get what. Our interest is that we must, is a choice. I'm a VIP star of a VIP nation, a 5-star nation called Nigeria. Every 5 black men in the world, 1 is a Nigerian. Every country you go in the world and Nigeria has not been through, you know there is nothing happening there. Okay. So really and truly, we need to show that this is it. The members of the National Assembly need to do the right thing. Oh. Now somehow we have 2 national assemblies because the National Conference as well are doing something. Then the elected members are doing something. But let them show something. Nigeria is a country. 100 years as of this year. 100 from 1914 to 2014. It means in a 100-year history, whoever is there when Nigeria celebrated that centenary should make sure that their name is written in legacy. And this is the only thing that is different in the country, to say you allow your diaspora members, the so-called educated, the rich people. We have value Nigerian asset of the diaspora more than $100 billion. Gatwick Airport is run by a Nigerian. Companies in Canada, United States, listed in the top 100 companies, which means they have a turnover of more than $1 billion. Yeah? So really, let Mr. President, let the Senate, let the National Assembly, all they have to do is tweet that constitution that says Nigerians in Nigeria are the only one allowed, and just put it, Nigerians anyway. And for a simple reason as well, they can actually allow those who are willing to do so either at the Nigerian embassy, which is a territorial ground of Nigeria, be in the United States, America, Canada, UK, Germany. Those places are Nigerian establishment. They're Nigerian ground. They can be polling center. That means you can end up having 100 polling centers outside the country. It takes less than 7 hours to get to get here. So everybody that goes, for example, to United Kingdom, so long you can get to UK, London, you go and vote on that day. By 10 p.m. UK time, BA and all the airline actually will fly to Nigeria with the result. And the result would be in INEC headquarters in the morning, 7 o'clock.
Alistair, it sounds so ideal. Of course, a lot of Nigerians are divided on this matter. That's beyond the National Assembly. The chairman of INEC, Atahiru Jega, did say last year that perhaps they may need to tinker and amend the Constitution. Sure. That's the Section 77, subsection 2 of the Constitution to accommodate the Nigerians in the diaspora. But then we do have a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Dele Adeshino, saying that, of course, Jega should concentrate on ensuring that Nigeria has a perfect electoral system before looking out. So how do we begin to draw the line in all of this? Well, should we not? Will the Electoral Commission, for instance, not be losing its focus at this point in time when it begins to concentrate on Nigerians in diaspora?
No, their focus is to conduct free and fair election. Their focus is to allow anybody who is eligible, 18 plus, to vote. That is their focus. Whatever is. Even in Nigeria, there are terrain that you can't reach, and it takes a day plus to get the vote out from the riverine area, isn't it? That is their aim, conduct election. So here you have Nigerian citizens. Some people might argue, who asked them to go? Excuse me, who asked you to be in Anambra State when you're from the north? Who asked an Igbo man to be in Katsina and then run to Lagos State, Yoruba State? This is a global community. Yeah, Nigerians contribute $20 billion on a yearly basis to support their family, to build, to invest, to do business. They pay tax. That's their tax. That's their contribution. And the truth of the matter is, I hardly come across people, no matter how much a politician gives you, he's not giving you his money. He's giving you the money that he's taking from government. No amount, if any politician gives you 10,000, 100,000, it's not his money. Because you will see them fighting for the smallest $1,000 when you are fighting for the smallest $100. So it means that they are still looking for money. So if it is my right as a Nigerian who have contributed after sweating out in Ghana, in UK, in New York, in Canada, and then sending this money to keep my family, my brothers, my extended family in business or in academic pursuit, that means I'm actually doing more than this politician. And I want Nigerians really, people to open their eyes. And they say, shine your eyes that whatever a politician give you, You deserve it. And he's not spending a penny of his money to do what the government, the president put him there to do. What is the need of celebrating them? Celebrate people who sweat, who are not even in government and doing something.
All right, let's go to the House Committee on Diaspora Affairs. I remember, I don't know if you're aware of the 1 million signatures, votes, for diasporans in the UK to vote in elections. And, subsequently it's been argued that this was also sent in a memorandum to, of course, the Constitution Amendment Committee, and they're looking at ways of having it put, perhaps in October when all comes together and the works. This argument for voting for diasporans came on since the Maurice War times. I remember there was some level of committee. I was part of that, and they were talking to him. I asked the question then, and I said, is it possible for Nigerians like us to vote, in diaspora? And he said there are cost implications, which was one of the things he said. And still, the committee still says up to now that there are still cost implications if we have to look at that now, that perhaps they might be allowed to vote in the National Assembly presidential, elections. But let's look at the agenda in the National Conference. Do you think that the diasporans have a set agenda for diasporan voting in this National Conference?
I don't think so, because I don't think they were elected by the diaspora organization. 70% of the people who are there were not part of the diaspora organization. There's a difference here. If I said this seat belongs to PDP, it belongs to PDP. You can't pick somebody from APC and dump into the PDP. It doesn't happen. The diaspora delegate should have been elected or nominated by the diaspora organization, be it Nidan, Nido, Kanug, Azumunta. These people should have nominated their own people. Some people were there just because they come from outside. But if you're not a current member of even a party, say PVP, APC, you cannot go and vote at any seat. So the question is, who are they? Yeah? I am a diasporian. I participated on issues to do with diaspora. I know the diaspora inside out. So really, and many other people, and we have organizations even here, ANID in Nigeria, NIDAN in Nigeria, supporting and working with the diaspora organizations such as NIDO, which the government fully know. So if they are there, and that's what I'm repeating, that our agenda is two: Diaspora Commission, diaspora voting right. So they really need to come back and say, well, this is it. If not, at the end of the day, what we are hoping for, again, things that we as Nigerians want to fight, corruption, whatever it is you may call it, is still right there in front of you. And what you are not dealing with, what you are not punishing in the system will continue to be. So until when Nigeria begins to punish people who commit crime, we have a long way to go, and we should not deceive ourselves.
Okay, Alistair, the committees at the National Conference have begun to, compile their reports. Now, will it be incumbent, for instance, on those who want to lobby, perhaps groups like yours, lobby the delegates to do so before it is too late?
Well, definitely. Mars, SARS, those watching, that's the only thing. If you really value your brother, your sister, your uncle, your niece that are outside the country, sending you that 100 naira, 10,000, 20,000 naira, supporting you, really and truly, all they're asking for is allow us to vote. Whatever the cost is, I don't believe there is much cost, because as I said, the Nigerian embassies around the world are already a territorial ground. All they have to do, in fact, if the INEC are watching, we have already developed a template, for example, a website where those Nigerians who want to vote can go and register. And then from there, INEC can know that, okay, there are 10,000 Nigerians who really want to vote. And this is their identification. What's our ID? Our ID is our Nigerian passport. Okay. Nigerian passport is issued by Nigeria. So automatically you have an identification to show that you're a Nigerian. So there's no issue about what should be. The issue is Nigeria sincerely and honestly willing to allow her diaspora to vote? And I think the answer should be yes.
All right, maybe Nigerians will first of all say, get the agitation right from the National Conference, because you've spoken clearly that, well, there might be people there representing the voice for diaspora, but they might not have the content for what the diaspora community really wants. Thank you, Alistair, for that one. Thank you. Alistair is the Chief Executive Officer of BEM Television, United Kingdom, and he's been here talking to us about how important it is for the diasporans, of course, in the UK or Canada or America, or wherever, should be allowed to vote and be voted for. Remember, Martin Luther King said, it is not the silence of our enemies that we will remember, but the silence of our friends. We'll be right back after this time. Stay with us. as that was, of course, voting rights for the Nigerians in diaspora. But this time we're looking at the presidential media chat, insurgency and the new challenge. So President Goodluck Jonathan Sunday assured Nigerians that the abducted girls will be rescued.
Yes, and President Jonathan, who was answering questions during the presidential media chat, said security agencies have been checking everywhere and promised that they will surely get them.
The president, who described the current situation as traumatizing, however, solicited the cooperation of parents and relatives of the girls.
He explained that he has held meetings with the security chiefs, Borno State Governor, Borno Education Commissioner, and the principal of the abducted girls.
Dr. Jonathan also revealed that government is talking to neighboring countries such as Cameroon, Niger, Chad, and even the North African nations.
The nation's #1 citizen expressed the capability of the security agencies to tackle the Boko Haram insurgency and promised that the nation will overcome this challenge.
The president said that the elders in the affected 3 states, Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe State, have been involved in the efforts to curb the insurgency through the past committees set up in it, and that government is consulting to determine whether to extend emergency rule in the affected states.
The media chat was preceded by another bomb explosion last Thursday, close to the last one at the Nyanya Motor Park, just less than 3 weeks, and the need to beef up security ahead of the World Economic Forum starting on Wednesday.
The president said Abuja is not locked down for the World Economic Forum, but that most public offices will be shut. The practice, according to him, takes place everywhere else.
Well, we will be discussing the security aspects of the media chat and government response to the second explosion in Abuja this Monday on Kakaaki, the African Voice.
Well, we are joined this morning by Vince Onyekwelu, ex-British police officer and government secretary. Welcome, Vince.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. Ahmed Salih, forensic scientist and public security analyst. Ahmed, you're welcome again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, gentlemen. I start with Vince. We listened to the president yesterday. A lot of Nigerians did. When you go to the social media, you will know that millions of Nigerians did listen to the president address the country yesterday. Now, how did you generally react to the president's assurances on security challenge facing the country?
I would say that the president was able to deliver a solid message. To be honest, a lot of people had issues with these skills of oratory, and now presidency is not about being able to speak like Obama or David Cameron. A president is supposed to deliver a message that we can understand that I'm working towards fighting insurgency. We're not able to find where the girls are yet. We don't know their location yet. I'm in collaboration with other stakeholders to find a solution to this. We have to lock down, not to lock down Abuja, but we need to protect people in Abuja because of the World Economic Forum. But at the end of the day, Nigerians need to give the presidency a chance to be presidential. We need to give him a chance to rule the country. Now, if you look at the history of Nigeria, he's one of the first presidents that been gone through this kind of dilemma that he's currently going through. And now, when you compare to other nations of the world, just like over the weekend, there was a massive bomb blast in Kenya, in Nairobi, and you wouldn't hear politicians asking Mr. Kenyatta to resign. Whereas in Nigeria, it seems that politicians, with all due respect, are taking the challenge away from the security experts and agencies to do their work. They're actually making the playing field more complicating. Mm-hmm. They come up with different kinds of stories to make it sound confusing, as if the government is not doing enough. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it, if anybody believes that the government is not doing enough about insurgency, I would say pay a visit to Syria. Then you will see what insurgency is all about. You see what terrorism is all about. Now, with all due respect to what's going on, we need to understand that the presidency, the Nigerian army, the Nigerian police services are working hard. The information for them, I can say to them from my experience, is like what we call public information officers. They are not communicating enough with the people. They are not passing enough information to Nigerians. It's only when things happen that you see the likes of my good friend Chris Olukolade or Frank Mba coming on board. You need to be proactive. We need to train more police officers to be what we call police information officers, because you don't just have to wait for the crisis to happen. You need to start to assemble, compile information, do your research, advise your service chiefs. So when anything happens, you are already ready to be able to give Nigerians the kind of information Nigerians require. So it's not about going overseas to train all these officers. They can be trained here in Nigeria because we have people that are experienced in training them. But public information officers are important to get Nigerian security services ready to give Nigerians the kind of information they need at the right time. And don't forget that the media at times, when you talk about public information officers, there's what we call sound bites in the media. When you say something, the AIT may just give you a particular sound bite. It may not communicate all you wanted to say. That is where the expertise is needed for public information officers. Frank Mba is doing a fantastic work. Chris Olukola is doing a fantastic work. But we need younger people to come on board. The social media in Nigeria, the police, the army are lost in social media. They've got no presence at all. And Nigerians from 21 years or 23 years down, they feed on social media. They are not, they've got no presence. So it seems that the rebels or the terrorists or the